Yeah, boss of YouTube, 6fthax here. So, a lot of you guys yesterday commented saying that you like the fact that I do say the boss of YouTube and that I should keep it as my intro. I was actually really touched by you guys because I did not expect so many people to just comment about it, and it really does mean a lot to me. So I'll definitely be keeping the boss of YouTube for you guys since y'all do really enjoy it. So again, thank you so much for that. But for today's battle, I'm using a team based around Latias that I believe was an OLT team if I'm not mistaken, so I'll leave a paste bin link to it down below. We are facing Nolan here, and going into this battle, the biggest threats I saw were going to be a potential Rock Polish, Swords Dance, Z-Move, Terrakion. Also, Latias could be a little bit of a problem if it's got HP Fire and I lose my Clefable. And then if Thunderous is Double Dance, I really have to be careful with that. So I'm going to be leading off with my Latias, as he's going to be leading off with his Skarmory. I felt that Latias was overall just a really good lead. It was very positive he wouldn't be leading off with the Bisharp, which thankfully he didn't, because he did lead off with the Skarmory. I'm just going to Mega Evolve right away, go straight for the Thunderbolt as he makes a very aggressive play into the Thunders here. I'm guessing he knew that I had Thunderbolt on this, or I'm guessing just Thunderbolt is standard on Latias in general. This is a more bulky Calm Mind variant of Latias, as I'm just going to go straight for the Ice Beam this turn as he hard switches directly into his Bisharp here. I kind of felt that he was going to make this play, but Ice Beaming was still just my safest play on the off chance that he did try and go for like a Nasty Plot or an Agility, as this turn I'm going to hard switch directly into my Toxapex. Thankfully, he didn't go for the Pursuit because that would have done a pretty good amount of damage, although he doesn't turn out to be Life Orb, which means I still would have taken the hit relatively well, but he does go for the knockoff on my switch into the Toxapex. This isn't entirely too bad just because I already had Shed Shell and it wasn't going to be useful in this battle anyways, so I'm going to pull a double switch into my incorrectly nicknamed the Tapu Koko here as he brings in the Skarmory, and I felt that the Thunderbolt was entirely too obvious here, which is why I expected him to stay in and not hard switch directly into his Thunderous, which means I'm able to bring this Skarmory down into its sturdy range, and because it doesn't have leftovers, I can just safely go for a Dazzling Gleam here, although I'm pretty sure Dazzling Gleam still would have done 7%, but still just knowing that he didn't have what the heck? Knowing that he didn't have leftovers was really good for me because I could just safely go for the Dazzling Gleam. Also, Dazzling Gleaming there did cover him potentially switching into his Thunderous if for some reason he wanted to make that play. As he brings in the Latios, we're both going to switch out here, and because I switched out before him, I now know that he's not Choice Scarf Latios, which means he could be Life Orbed, even potentially Specs, so that's something I have to watch out for. As he switched into the homie Numb Nexus, I brought in my Clefable, expecting him to go for a Psyshock, and I'm going to take this chance to get on my Stealth Rocks, as it turns out that he's Choice Banded, judging for how much damage that Play Rough did. Thankfully though, I do have a Ferrothorn in the back and a Toxapex as well, so I'm going to make the safe switch on out of here into one of those two because I do still have use for my Clefable later in this battle, mainly to take on the Latios 1v1 potentially, unless for some reason he's got Psychic and not Psyshock. So as I switch into my Ferrothorn, he does double out into his Bisharp here, and in hindsight, I should have doubled out into my Toxapex. Like, I was debating between Ferrothorn and Toxapex, and if I had brought in Toxapex, I might have been able to go for the Scald, and I also have Haze on Toxapex, so if this was a Swords Dance Bisharp, which it does actually turn out to be, then I would have been able to just haze away his boosts and then potentially burned him with the Scald. So that was a bit of a misplay on my part, as this turn I'm forced into my Toxapex, but he does end up going for the Swords Dance, and now I have to potentially choose something on my team to sack off, and this is another just really bad play on my part here. I think what I should have done was maybe sacked off Terrakion, like, not Terrakion, but sacked off Gliscor, because Gliscor really wasn't doing entirely too much in this battle because he definitely has to have HP Ice and Thunderous. He's got to be Continental Crush Terrakion, so that beats it, and then the Latios can severely wear it down because I don't think the Gliscor actually has Roost. So yeah, sacking off there Clefable was a really bad misplay on my part, as this turn I have to bring in my Tapu Koko. It's the only thing on my team that can comfortably take a +2 Sucker Punch from this Mon, and I didn't want to bring in Gliscor because if I brought in Gliscor, that would have baited him to switch out, and then he would have been able to keep this Bisharp around for later in this battle. So by bringing in Tapu Koko here, I can go for my Z move, and if he does feel comfortable in bringing in the Thundurus, thinking that I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt, I will be able to knock it out with my Dazzling Gleam Z move, which is the Twinkle Tackle. But he does allow me to get rid of the Bisharp, as in comes a Thundurus. I thought that this was about to just go for Agility and then potentially go for a nasty plot, but it turns out that he's Choice Scarfed, and I now lose my Tapu Koko without getting damage on this Thundurus. But I do know that he's Scarfed now, which actually makes him a whole lot less of a threat. The only issue now is that if this Latios has Hidden Power Fire, then it could potentially just beat the remainder of my team if my Latias is not able to potentially take a Draco Meteor or a Dragon Pulse if he does have one of those two Dragon Stab moves, as it does unfortunately turn out that he's got the Hidden Power Fire, and that's really bad because I didn't expect this to be Mega Latios in the first place, which is why I go for the knockoff, knowing that it should do a good amount of damage to this Latios. And now this turn, I'm just gonna go for Leech Seed on the off chance that he over predicts or he does just decide to knock me out with another Hidden Power Fire, as thankfully he does end up over predicting this turn, and I'm guessing that he expected me to switch into my Toxapex, which is why he went for the Dragon Dance, because me saving this Ferrothorn for his Azumarill does make a lot of sense. So by making that aggressive play, I will be able to beat Broad outside of range of where another Hidden Power Fire will actually be able to knock me out. So what I'm going to do is take this opportunity to try and get up a layer of spikes, but he ends up going for the Outrage, probably predicting me to switch into my Toxapex on the Hidden Power Fire. So by staying in here, that's actually very good for me because now this Latios is locked into the Outrage. Also, he could have expected me to go for the Protect because he hasn't seen every move that I've shown or every move that I have on this Ferrothorn, because I've only shown him Leech Seed and Knockoff and then Spikes. So there was a chance that maybe he thought I had the Protect, which is another reason why he went for the Outrage. But I don't think that was necessarily a bad play on his part that he went for the Outrage against my Ferrothorn, because again, there was a good possibility I wasn't going to stay in or just go for the Protect to gain back a bit more of HP recovery with the Leech Seed. So thankfully I'm able to beat this Mega Latios down 1v1 as I make another misplay in going for the Power Whip. In hindsight, definitely should have gone for Layer Spikes. That was just a really bad play on my part because there was really no reason for me to have done that, because Leech Seed would have knocked him out and it would have given me back a little bit more health. As in comes a Terrakion. Turns out that he's got Substitute on Terrakion, and this is actually terrifying because if I miss my Power Whip and this Terrakion ends up behind a Substitute, this can literally just knock out two of my last three remaining Pokemon after he knocks out my Ferrothorn with a potential close combat. So this Terrakion behind a sub could claim 3 Pokemon if I miss a Power Whip. So at this point I'm just hoping and praying that my Ferrothorn doesn't miss, because it's literally there's a 20% chance that I miss Power Whip, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 85 accuracy or 80 accuracy, but whatever percentage is from 100, that's the percentage I have to lose this battle if I miss Power Whip. Luckily though, I don't miss a Power Whip, and he's not going to try and substitute again, which, knowing my luck, this would have been the Power Whip that I missed. But if he did substitute, he would have been in range of where Iron Barbs, I think, would have actually knocked him out in return there. So him going for close combat was not entirely too bad of a play, as this gives me a free switch into my Latios, and at this point, Mega Latias just basically wins me the battle. With his Thundurus being Scarfed, it can't touch Latias, and I can Calm Mind up against it. I can knock out this Terrakion because I outspeed it, and then Azumarill, all I need to do is get off just a little bit more chip damage to guarantee that I can knock it out with a Thunderbolt. So I knock out the Terrakion, in comes the Azumarill. Unfortunately though, he does end up running here because he realizes the match is over. His plays were to either go for the potential knockoff, play rough, or waterfall. And I think what I probably would have done was switch directly into my Toxapex, because Toxapex literally took anything that he wanted to go for, and then from there I could have gone for the Scald. Even if he tried to pull a double switch into Thundurus on my switching to Toxapex, it didn't really matter, because he would have had to choose to lock himself into HP Ice, or Thunderbolt. If he locked himself into Thunderbolt, I just got a free switch into Gliscor or into my Latias. If he locked himself into HP Ice, he obviously didn't kill Toxapex. And then another round of Rocks and Spikes put Azumarill in range of where Thunderbolt should have been able to knock him out. If it didn't knock him out, then I'm pretty sure it would have knocked him out. But either way, there was really nothing much that he could have done at that point. Like, I'm trying to theory mine to see how, like, he maybe would have won, but I'm pretty sure that Mega Latias there at that point basically had the victory in her hand. So yeah, even though it looked like Mega Latias didn't do much, Mega Latias definitely would have picked up the final 3 KOs if the match had been played out. So either way, good game to Nolan. Really thought this was a nice little showcasing of Mega Latias, although in my defense, or his defense as well, I did just really misplay the first couple turns into this battle. Like, I should have sacked off Gliscor instead of sacking off the Fable. And thankfully the aggressive plays, I guess, with Ferrothorn really did put me in a good scenario, because getting rid of the Mega Latios was actually a huge plus. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to hammer arm that like button down below. Que pasa YouTube will not be going anywhere, because apparently so many of you guys really do love it. And just again, thank you so much for the kind words on yesterday's video. So with that being said, guys, I'll see you all tomorrow. So later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion, but when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.